Hey guys, what is happening? This is Alex Becker with my partner Alex Cass, and we're sitting right here to give you your first training with CassBecker Co-op. So you just hopped in, and what we're going to be doing right now, Cass, can you hear me all right now?
Yeah, it's
okay.
good.
All right, cool. What we're going to be getting into, and you can see the big kind of fancy board that we set up, is we basically sat down and wanted to give you, in a nutshell, the 4 steps to our 7-figure launching strategy. Now, this covers everything from start to finish, from the creation of the product all the way to the back end where we make the real money. And what we're going to be doing is just going through each of these steps. We're going to be covering the top tips that we would give you to have an successful launch and the biggest things that we're seeing people mess up with. So I think the first thing, we're just going to hop right into it, guys. No fluff or bullshit. We're just going to hop straight into this. And what we want to talk about first is really just the inception of the product and where we start off with. And Alex, this is kind of your specialty if you want to start laying into this. Let me just kind of zoom it in so we can see all right.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for opting in. All right, so yeah, first of all, the inception of the product. A lot of people try to start out with the whole copy, the launch kind of thing. And that's in our experience, that's not been as profitable as creating the meat of the product in itself. When you're creating a product, you definitely want to look at a couple of things: what the market wants versus what the market needs. And a lot of people are just very much worried about about giving whatever it is that they think that the market needs. That's not necessarily what it'll sell. What you guys are looking for is the very key elements of what makes people what influences people in their buying decisions, what influences their buying decision. So what you're going for is their desires and their wants and what you're going to solve for them. So that's going to be a very, very important thing for you guys to look at when you're creating the product in itself.
On top of what Alex just got done talking about, one of the big things we always focus on is making the product sexy and positioned as well as possible. All right, one thing you got to keep in mind: the quality of the product, everything like that matters, yada yada. However, it's the sexiness of the product and the positioning that is going to make it sell. You'll notice that with like SEO Zen, we always come up with crazy cool names, really great packaging and stuff like that to get people excited. So one thing you also need to keep in mind when we're talking about what the market wants, all right, they also want to be excited. They want to feel cool purchasing the product. So just keep that in mind. If you can create that excitement, that desire, that's the next thing that's going to create a lot of sales for you.
Yeah. Okay. So another really important thing is for you guys to keep in mind that theoretical products do not work. Products that may work do not work. People were going to buy things that are going to buy them most of the time, based on things that bring them results, not things that are just not tested by you or anyone else. So if you can basically partner up with somebody that has brought a certain type of results to the table, or that has been an amazing case study that you've seen around, but it doesn't really have the tools or the knowledge how to launch a product, that's definitely what you want. You always want to bring an amazing experience for the customer in terms of what the effectiveness on your product is.
And just really quickly, guys, if you can see, there's a cool little like box below. And 2 things we're going to send you if you hit like below. We're going to send you, first off, a PDF showing how we add a ton of extra buyers to our list every launch without them even having to buy. This has gotten us close to 4,000 extra emails. On top of that, what we're also going to be doing is Alex is going to be sending you his promotion strategy. This is a strategy that he uses to win virtually any contest he hops into. This is exact emailing strategy and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to hit like below. Nothing else to ask right there. It just gets sent to you. You can download it right away. All right, and now while we're finishing up the inception of the product, guys, the next thing I want to talk about is the packaging. All right, and this sounds like just kind of like simple, like why do we need to make it pretty? It's very, very, very important. It's very subtly important. It all ties back with the sexiness. What you really need to realize when you're creating your product is you're selling feelings, you're selling emotions, you're selling excitement, okay? When people buy a product, yes, they're buying a product because they need a tool to do X, Y, and Z or whatever the hell it needs to do. What you're selling, what makes people buy, is the feeling that they're buying something cool, the feeling that they're buying something that's going to make them successful, the feeling that they're making a really cool decision and they're just getting in the inside. So don't put like little raining dollar bills and the typical kind of bullshit you see all over packages. Make something cool and original looking. The packaging and how it's all presented, because remember, at the end of the day, you want to make people feel cool and like they're making a special, cool decision when they're buying your product.
And to add on to what Becker was saying right now, as far as packaging goes, when a person buys online, they're buying an intangible product. They're not buying something that they can hold in their hands. So making a product very pretty to look at is fruity as that sounds, is very appealing to the eye. I mean, it shows of the quality of the product they're purchasing, they're putting their money into, making it very visually appealing and very nicely organized to navigate through. It's very, very important, especially when it comes to reducing refund rates and things like that, and most importantly, of the perceived value that they're getting for the money they just paid.
Moving on to that, the next part of the launch is JV attraction. This is probably one of the most important things. This is more Alex's forte, so I'm going to let him take the ball with this one and basically tell you all the cool stuff we're doing in this kind of area. So, Alex, first off, you talked about the golden rule of JVing with me. What exactly is that?
Yeah, absolutely. The number one thing that I probably learned that started off on this kind of successful journey was to really ingrain in my brain that it's utmost important to make the JVs a ton of money and to make their customers happy with the products. That pretty much sums up the mindset that you have to have when you're reaching out to some of JVs. JVs have these. I mean, they're promoting stuff most of the time, and what they want to do is they want to keep a good, solid relationship with their customers. So they're not going to promote crap. That's just going to reduce both their credibility and their income. So you want to make sure that you have a solid product to make their customers happy, and you also have to make it appealing so that they end up with a lot of money in their pockets, and that comes in a lot of different tools and a lot of different aspects, as far as sales copy, email swipes, prizes, things of that nature.
And what we're talking about that and focusing on the JVs, there's just one big thing I had to touch on right here, and the JV page, and Alex handles a lot of the JVing for us, but one thing we always focus on, if you hit up our JV page and stuff like that, there's a massive amount of focus on that, and that's because the JV page and your JVs are the backbone of your launch. I've seen tons of kind of low quality products sell tons because they had great JV support, and I've seen amazing products sell nothing at all because they didn't have JV support. And one huge issue I see with a lot of people is they put very little effort into their JV page when that's the backbone of their entire launch. All right, they don't make it exciting, they don't make it cool for the JVs. If you notice on our JV page, you can actually hit it up below when you hit like. We link to it. We basically are giving them all the tools and making it as sexy as possible just with the product, and we're going to talk on that a little bit more, but next time you're launching, be sure to focus on your JV page. It's the most important thing. It's the first thing we lay out even before we even start working on the product sometimes. On top of that, you really need to incentivize, and I think, Alex, that's the next thing we're going to talk about.
So another thing that's very, very important as well is that besides making the product sexy for the customer, you have to make the product sexy for the JV to promote, and that includes several elements. One of those elements can definitely be to offer 100% commissions and offer very, very appealing prizes. We offered a few. I think we're probably first in the industry to offer such a high pool of prizes. Not everybody can do it, but you can definitely build on it the more and more you launch. And it's also sexy to a lot of affiliates to have all the tools in place. A lot of affiliates don't really like to take that much time into setting up the entire launch promotion campaign. They just have a lot of things going on that they just want the plug and play type of thing. So having all these different tools like an email swipes, most affiliates are not going to use the email swipes exactly as they are. They're just going to take the little bullet important points and they're going to mail it to their lists. They could just make it relatable to the relationship they have. So all those little things, the less work that the JV can do, the better. So that's definitely how you're going to make it sexy. That's definitely how you would get my attention.
And on top of what Alex is saying, one thing you got to keep in mind with prizes, you'll notice on any of our JV pages, we're not just giving away $5,000. We're not just giving away $2,000. We give away a gold Rolex. We give away a Breitling. We find something that is cool for the amount of dollar value. Now, heads up, most JVs who win the contest just take the cash. However, it's 10 times cooler to be like, hey, look, we're giving away a gold Rolex to our winner instead of saying, hey, we're just giving away $5,000 cash or we're giving away $300 cash. Make the prizes sexy as well. On top of that, creating buzz in the JV community, that's something that's just you absolutely destroyed last launch, Alex. What do you mean by that?
So yeah, one of the things that is very important as far as JVing is kicking up some dirt, and it's very important for you to make sure they have a strong presence in the community. Right now, Facebook is where all the JVs hang out. That's where I've been contacted at multiple times. Skype is not that big anymore. So right now, Facebook is where it is. So what do you need to do? You need to, and this kind of ties in a little bit into your PPC campaign, is advertise on Facebook and make sure that you get into those relationships and groups and pretty much everywhere where all these people are hanging out and sharing their experiences and whatnot. These the presence that you're going to have is basically going to keep is going to stay in the minds of the JVs whenever they need to be, whenever the launch is going to happen. So having that in place is absolutely essential to having a successful launch, and having people mark their calendars, because sometimes they just make other commitments with other people. And making sure that you're right there in their face is very, very important.
Exactly. One final thing, though, you want to, when you think about promoting your launch, think of it almost with a PPC mindset, almost like you're selling the launch to JVs. You want to create that desire. And when you're creating the page and stuff like that, think about something that would convert you to a launch. If you did not know to JV, if you knew nothing about them, you want to basically, when you send them to that sales page, you want them to convert to exactly what you're selling on that page, which is getting them to promote. So think about it in that kind of mindset.
That's kind of a good point, Becker, because a lot of people just lost the art of marketing itself, and it's placing yourself in the shoe of the people who you're trying to sell to. And if you imagine, and if you position yourself as someone who is or you're creating the persona of the person you're going to be selling to, it's a lot easier for you to relate and know what hot buttons to push in order for them to get them to take action towards what purpose you have in mind, whatever, be it sell a product or be it a promoter product. So that's definitely a good point on there to place yourself in the shoes of the person that you want to target and to want to reach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly like Alex says. Whenever you're getting JVs on board or you're getting a customer to buy your product, in both situations, you're getting people to make a commitment to you and do what you want to do. So when you're marketing to JVs, don't think that they're just going to market it for themselves. Create that seduction that creates people to take action, whether it's buying a product or promoting your product. Next thing, though, is the launch. All right, this is what it's all about. All right, don't do all this shit and then just don't launch your product. That'd be kind of weird, though. Kudos to you for getting it all done, though. But anyways, the launch and the copy, and there's so much stuff we can dig into this, and we could just sit here for hours shooting the shit and throwing out all sorts of tidbits. We just want to really wrap this up in 4 points. As far as the copy goes, I usually handle the videos. Alex usually handles the written text, and that's both important to have on there. We're going to talk about that in a sec. However, when you notice the name of my videos, and also in the copy as well, we're always focusing on results when writing the copy or the video. A good real example of this, if you've ever seen like the Insanity infomercial, all right, and you don't have to take your shirt off and be doing crunches and stuff in your videos. However, you always want to do the 3 things that I like to always include in any launch. This is from Alex as well. We're always focusing in on before and afters, all right? Before someone bought SEO Zen, after. Before someone has bought SEO Zen, after. And we're always focusing on trust building. You always notice we're putting where we've been featured. We're always focusing on getting our names in places that are trustworthy, associating our names with trustworthy people. And we constantly go before or after. You can trust us because of this, and you need to act now because there's real scarcity to this product, which is with SEO Zen. Within the first 2 days, the price went up, and then after 7 days, it went away. All right, Alex, do you have any other stuff on that?
Yes, just picture this. Just picture this. When people are buying online, there are a couple of things. One, they're having an internal dialogue with themselves. Monologue, whatever, and it's really hard to kind of feel out a person if all you're doing is selling. The trustability in your sales letter it's incredibly important for you to convert all this traffic, and the best way to do it is with results, either live results or screenshots or a video proof or something that'll prove exactly what they're doing. And yeah, so basically that also ties into. I mean, you're obviously doing this because you want to get you basically want to increase your bottom line. You obviously want to increase your revenue. And a very, very good solid trick, or not very solid trick, but it's a very great marketing strategy, is mentioning the upsell around during the copy. If you're going to save them time or make them more money with your upsell, you need to mention somewhere around the copy that the product that's about to come. You don't necessarily have to mention that you have an upsell coming, but the upsell does have to be mentioned somewhere around the copy, or be hinted at, as far as saving time or money, which are the biggest reasons why you should create an upsell, and the ones that convert the most.
Yeah, exactly. A really great example of that, if you can go back all the way to SEO Mega. We're always talking about how you can rank pages with YouTube videos and how they actually convert better than most sites. Then right after that, we teach them how to monetize YouTube videos with our software. That was the upsell, converted at 40%. You can see the upsell for SEO Zen. We talk about throughout the whole entire copy about having to pick the right keywords, and if you can pick the right keywords with the software, you're going to win. Boom, right after that, we have a training that shows them how to pick the keywords, converted at 50%. So this is definitely something you want to get into. The launch week process, all right, this is something you were just pushing all week long with the SEO Zen launch. What did we get into on that, Zao?
Well, as far as this goes, a lot of people just say, well, I'm going to do a month-long type of campaign and that's it. And then when the product goes live, they just kind of like let it just sit there. You will double your income on average if you keep pushing it all week long post the launch. You have to keep in touch with, you have to stay in touch with all your JVs. You have to stay in touch with your top JVs especially. But most importantly, keep the communication going. As far as, remember what I said in the JV process about creating a buzz. The buzz has to stay on. It has to be all throughout the launch. You cannot just let it die upon launch day, which is a mistake that I keep seeing over and over again. Yep. Actually, I think we should include what we're about to say next. I think we should include the whole proof video banking headlines before the launch week process should, because that ties into the copy. So as far as creating your copy and creating like the winning elements of a copy, there are four essential things. There are four essential things that you must have on every single copy that you do and that you create, and those are having a proof, as I was mentioning. The trustability is a really big thing. Having a video on there today, this day and age, if you don't have a video, it rarely catches anyone's attention. So having a video, either yourself, someone else, or whatever, works perfect. Another thing is having like amazing headlines. People tend to scroll through every single sales letter because they're just bored out of their minds because of the same old thing, and they don't have time really to read the parts that are in between. So having a really good, solid series of headlines that just jump out at you is incredibly important, because that's going to catch their attention. And lastly, having a set of features that are going to solve their problems, which is where you're hitting on their emotional buttons, where you're hitting on what solution your product is going to bring to them, to their lives. So you got to have proof, video, amazing headlines to catch your attention. All of these will create trustability, and attention catching and features is basically what is going to solve for them as well.
You know, that's really all it comes into. Of course, there's more to writing copy than that, but if you need to hit four things, if you don't have those four things, you need to go back and kind of rework your process. One thing also, we're just touching in video, all right, especially when you're in video. You got to think about how other sales pages are constantly looking, how other marketers constantly look. You're going to see a lot of people at their computer shooting with a low quality camera, or just a typical white background. This is the best product ever, la la la. If you go back and watch our products, the first thing we always do with our videos and our headlines is grab people's attention. One thing to keep in mind is you cannot sell a person, you're not convince them to buy your product until you have their attention. So if you check out our videos, I always do two things, and there's much more than this than that. However, the first thing I always do in there is I get a person's attention, because if you check the videos, they're borderline outrageous. I'm running around in a suit and accusing people of having life-threatening diseases. Why? I need their attention. First off, on top of that, you need to make yourself look like an authority in your videos. All right, if you're sitting in your PJs or in your low-quality camera or in your garage, with your finger up your nose saying "buy my software," you look like an idiot. No one's going to buy your shit. You need to go invest in a high-definition camera, invest in something to improve your video quality so that you look legit. There's much more than that, but that's the next thing to talk about, right? And that's pretty much everything we wanted to cover as far as that, right, Alex?
That's it. Yep. Be sure to check out the next series of videos, guys, because it's some really, really good stuff is coming.
I'm going to be breaking down the exact video and copy that generated over $500,000 last launch, so be sure to watch out for that. Also allows us to have the top-selling product of all time on JVZoo, so if you want that, you should probably watch the next video. The final thing I wanted to hop into, and this is kind of where I excel, and Alex is going to be talking to you a little bit about promos, is the back end. All right, and this is, it shows it's 1/4 of the process right here. This is essentially where all the money is made, though. This is where myself and Alex have both made our millions. It's just the best place to do it. I'm going to explain to you why. All right, so first off, when I see people launch a product, they get the big, chunky list afterwards, and the main kind of JV priority as soon as they get the list is spam it with other people's products or send other products. I see a few people send like little half-ass value emails and stuff like that. And it just doesn't work. You're cutting your wrist right there, and you're basically setting yourself up to be poor in the future unless you just keep rebuilding your castle over and over again. And I can touch on that for hours, but the first thing you need to keep in mind is people spend money on trust. They spend money with people they trust. They spend thousands of dollars with people they trust. In fact, last time you launched, you probably caught a few people that make $1 million per year on your list, all right, and have no problem paying someone they trust for $10,000 a month in consulting, all right, or something high around that, whatever your price tag is. Now, after you launch, I see a lot of JVs, they don't have a brand for people to go to. They don't build an identity. They don't build any rapport. Basically, they're just a person who they know loosely makes money online that is sending people advertisements and promos and maybe a little half-ass filler. You will see the second after we launch, the first thing people see is myself or Alex. We're constantly talking to them. We're in video. We're in HD. We're teaching them all this cool stuff, and we're building ourselves up as an authority. All right, there's two reasons for that. We want a brand that lasts, and we want to take care of our customers. But two, that is why people spend a lot of money with us. And if you want people to come and jump on to your business, start spending a lot of money with you, you need to build that trust first. And I'll get onto that a lot more later, but that's the reason why we have a blog. That's the reason why I'm always in HD video talking to people and stuff like that. We want to build that trust. You're going to see the same people, Kern, Andy Jenkins, Mike Filzane, Mario Brown, doing all the same stuff. There's a reason behind that, all right? If you don't have trust, people are only going to be buying little $47 products from you. Now, next thing I want to leave you guys with is it's far easier to make 7 figures in your back end than it ever is with your launch, all right? I see a lot of people. It's not bad to try and make money with your launch. However, you're just getting started or you want to make a lot of money right now. You want to be making, $100,000 a month and stuff like that. The easiest way to reach that goal is with your back end. All right, if people trust you and you're able to charge high-end reoccurring products, you're going to hit 7 figures extremely quickly, or much, much faster than launching and promoting the shit out of your list every month. So what we do when we launch, and the reason why we're able to give away such huge prizes and stuff like that, is we focus the business around high-ticket reoccurring products, are very targeted, trusted promos for high-ticket products as well. If you notice, a lot of times after we get the launch, the first thing we do is I'm always prepping people up for our membership Source Infinite. I'm always prepping people up to join Source Autopilot. That's the max dollar value of the top package there is $1,000 per month. We're always prepping people up to join Source Dynasty and all sorts of stuff like that, and just filling people with the brand so that they feel comfortable spending that money that they want to spend to get coaching or services and stuff like that. On top of that, with Alex as well, he's always doing extremely, extremely targeted promos. He's not out there doing that. So Alex, what's kind of your strategy for the promos you're doing, especially the very high-end webinars we do after our launches and so forth?
We've done we basically have done 6-figure promos and webinars, and this is basically all in the back end. One of the key things is to do it related to what your business, what you're basically preaching in general, not necessarily the product that you've sold on that end, but what your entire business stands for. One of the main reasons why I win all these contests is because it's extremely targeted, and I'll tell you about it more in the bonus. But when you like this the page, but when you're promoting a product, you need to make sure that you're reaching exactly the same type of people that you were attracting with your launch or with your business idea. And that sounds very simple, and I will break it down later. But it is definitely something that a lot of people miss, and it's very, very important.
Yeah, one thing I also throw in with that, when you're creating a product, think of the people you want in your backend. Think of the people that will be buying your membership. Think of the webinar products you'll either be creating or promoting. Think about the people you want to attract. Your business or the launches, especially in this kind of genre, the JV Zoo genre, is to attract those leads and attract the type of people you want for your backend. Last thing I really want to leave you with is when we first started off, there was all sorts of people on top, and very few of those people are on top anymore. There's a select people that have been with us the whole entire time, but all the old giants we used to kind of know of, kind of in the WSO land and stuff like that, kind of disappeared because they would do what we like to call mystery man promotions. All right, and if you can take one thing away from this video, if you just want to ignore everything, with your list, you do not want to be a mystery man. If the only representation of you is just a weird little picture of you and your dog, like enjoying the stereotypical dream life and shit like that, you're basically just hanging yourself very slowly. You want to build a rapport with your list immediately, because the IM industry is getting more and more populated with people selling shit and all sorts of crazy new stuff and get-rich methods that you need to distinguish yourself. It's extremely imperative. And if you go the mystery man route, if you're not really putting a lot of effort into who you are, what you do, what you're known for, your rapport and everything with your list, you might as well live very cheaply right now, because any income you make is only going to be extremely temporary. And that's kind of what we have to leave you with. Is there anything else you want to throw in, Alex?
Yeah, no, but that's basically it. We obviously do have a few more points that we're going to cover in the future videos, but make sure to stay tuned to them, because this is the stuff, guys, that is really going to make you a ton of cash, and ironically is going to make you work a lot less and spend more effort on giving value to the community, to the industry in itself, and changing more lives, all that stuff. But the bottom line is that you guys are going to make a ton more money with these strategies, bar none.
Yep, exactly. It'd be pretty hard not to make money with this if you're launching products right now. All right, so guys, just one thing to stress really quick. Be sure to like below so you get all the bonus resources and stuff. And the thing I want to remind you of, this is the tip of the iceberg. All right, this is just me and Alex literally just sat down for like 15 minutes, wrote this stuff out, and I think this went way longer than I thought we were going to be talking for. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be hitting up the exact steps of doing all this stuff in the next few videos. Next video, we're going to be breaking down the copy all the way leading up to the webinar you're going to get invited to. Again, be sure to show up 20 minutes early because the list is already getting pretty heavy. So we'll see you guys in the next video. This is Alex Cass and Alex Becker, and take it easy.